Tonight on Y News. The Black Friday protest against Marcos' burial continues at the Quirino Grandstand. Senator De Lima's former aide and driver Ronnie Dayan stays at the safe house of Pangasinan Provincial Police following his appearance at the House probe yesterday.
Workers and owners of firecracker factories worry about the executive department's plan of implementing a nationwide firecracker ban next year. Several provincial offices of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council remain under red alert over Typhoon Marce.
The Manila International Airport Authority prepares for the surge of airline passengers this holiday season. And a young girl in eastern Aleppo gets a special gift from famous Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling.
Y News begins now.
UNTV News and Rescue Command Center. This is Y News with Angelo Castro III, Gerry Alcantara, and Darlene Basingan.
Good evening. The Black Friday protest against the Marcos burial continues at the Quirino Grandstand. From Quirino Grandstand, Monokson will tell us why.
Yes, Diego, thousands of activists joined today's Black Friday protest to denounce the burial of dictator Ferdinand Marcos at the Manila Heroes Cemetery. Victims of human rights abuse and veteran figures who led the fight against the Marcos dictatorship joined students in Luneta in what is hoped to be the first of many mass actions against the internment. According to the organizers, the protest is aimed at the reversal of the burial and for President Rodrigo Duterte to once and for all abandon his alliance with the Marcoses. Past 4 in the afternoon when protesters gathered at the Quirino Grandstand. Organizers said that they were expecting more than 20,000 people to join the protest rally. The PNP will observe maximum tolerance as advised by Mayor Joseph Estrada. Protesters are also advised to avoid any violent act. President Duterte earlier said that protesters are free to use designated public places without any permit. President Duterte also said that there will be no time limit for the activities tonight. Diego, protesters are still coming from different areas to join the thousands of anti-Marcos activists gathered here tonight at the Quirino Grandstand. And that's the latest here at Luneta. Back, Diego.
Thank you. That was Monokson reporting live from the Quirino Grandstand. President Rodrigo Duterte is confident that the rallies at the Black Friday protest will hold their demonstrations peacefully while expressing their opposition of the Marcos burial at the Libingan ng mga Bayani. The president announced last week he will not stop the protest as long as it would not affect public order. Presidential spokesperson Undersecretary Ernesto Abella says this is the reason why the government has deployed only a few cops to areas where protests against the Marcos burial will be held.
He trusts the public to be able to handle themselves properly, and he's allowing for democratic protest.
Senator Laila De Lima's former driver and bodyguard Ronnie Dayan is now under the custody of the Pangasinan Provincial Police. Joanna will tell us why.
After his appearance in the lower house hearing yesterday, Senator Laila De Lima's former driver bodyguard Ronnie Dayan is now staying at a safe house provided by the Pangasinan Provincial Police. He was let out of the Provincial Police office at 2:00 a.m. today after being checked by a doctor and talking to his lawyer. According to Pangasinan Provincial Police Chief Ronald Lee, they will do everything they can to give Dayan enough security.
Siyempre kasi mayroon threat sa kanya, mataas yung threat sa kanya. We cannot discount that na mayroon talaga magtatangka sa kanyang buhay. Ibinigay sa akin, custody ko, so kailangan protektahan ko siya at all cost.
At present, he is with his immediate family at the safe house. According to Director Lee, despite Ronnie Dayan's freedom to move at the safe house, he must ask permission if he wants to go out.
Siya naman yung kusang sumama sa amin na nag-request siya na dito sa Pangasinan siya mag-i-custody sa akin. So tinanong ko siya nung kagabi through cellphone na kung saan niya gusto. Tama niya, bahala ka na sir, sabi niya.
Lee believes that Dayan still has more to reveal in the coming days. Dayan is scheduled to go out to the DOJ on Tuesday to undergo the witness protection program. According to Lee, they will shoulder all the expenses of Dayan's stay while he is inside their safe house in Pangasinan. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Some lawmakers are dismayed at the proceedings of the House probe on illegal drug trade. Nel Maribuhok will tell us why.
Some lawmakers are dissatisfied with the statements of Ronnie Dayan in relation to his involvement in the alleged acceptance of Senator Laila de Lima of drug money from believed inmates and suspected drug lord Kerwin Espinosa for her campaign funds. This is because the hearings seem to have focused on the personal and private life of Senator Laila de Lima and Ronnie Dayan instead of inquiring about the connection of the two in the illegal drug trade.
Nung sinabi nga na nagbibigay ng pera yung Kerwin, hindi naman niya sinabing perang galing droga. Dahil ang suspect niya, di architect ka, engineer nga daw, kung sino. So basically, yung tingin ko, kulang yung laman nung sasabi ni Ronnie Dayan dun sa hearing na yon.
I think Mr. Ronnie Dayan was not complete in his affidavit.
Senator Grace Poe is disappointed as well because instead of being in aid of legislation, the inquiry focused on what she describes as voyeurism and digging into private relationships. Senator Riza Ontiveros, on the other hand, urges House Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez to lead the members of the House of Representatives, let the evidence against de Lima speak for itself, and stop what she claims as sexist and misogynistic attacks against an elected official. Meanwhile, Congressman Robert Ace Barbers sees nothing wrong in the manner of questioning of the lawmakers about the personal life of Dayan.
Hindi naman siguro intention na hiyain. Ang na-establish naman dun sa hearing na yon, klarong-klaro, yung pagpipigil ni Senator de Lima sa pag-attend ni Ronnie Dayan, no?
Despite this, Malacanang still believes that Dayan is still a vital witness in the operation of illegal drugs inside the New Bilibid prison.
I believe he's still a vital witness to the whole illegal drug trade situation.
Nel Maribuhok, UNTV News and Rescue, House of Representatives.
The Department of Justice will require a new statement from Ronnie Dayan for his admission to the Witness Protection Program. Meanwhile, Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre believes Dayan is not telling the truth about the believed drug trade. Roderick Mendoza will tell us why.
Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre is not convinced with Ronnie Dayan's testimony on illegal drug trade inside the New Bilibid prison. During the congressional inquiry yesterday, Dayan repeatedly denied collecting money from Bilibid drug lords for Senator Laila de Lima. Aguirre thinks Dayan is not telling the truth and was only holding back his knowledge out of fear.
Samanthalang wala naman siyang dapat ikatakot na kasi pag sinabi lang niya ang lahat ng totoo, at mailagay namin siya under the Witness Protection Program, magkakaroon siya ng immunity from prosecution. Ayaw niyang magkaroon ng testimony na posibleng maging parang admission niya o confession niya. Pero pag yan ay napaliwanagan siguro na ang kanyang sasabihin na pasat katotohanan ay will earn him immunity at wala na siyang ikatakot sa anumang prosecution, then I believe that baka magbago ang isip ni Ronnie Dayan.
Dayan was already given provisional coverage to the Witness Protection Program because he is a prospective witness in cases against de Lima and considering the threat to his life and his family. This Tuesday, the DOJ will take a new affidavit from him as a requirement to his admission to the WPP.
Kinakailangan kunin natin ng statement ng affidavit kasi yung affidavit niya kahapon, wala kaming participation doon, ano? marami kaming tatanong, yung mga supposedly na inconsistencies dun sa kanyang statement, lilinawin natin yun.
Despite the supposed inconsistencies in Dayan's testimony, Aguirre believes he is a credible witness. It also appears that Dayan is not the most guilty because, as he has testified in Congress, he is only following the Lima's orders to receive money from Kerwin Espinosa. But Aguirre says whether or not they will make Dayan a state witness will depend on the content of his affidavit. Roderick Mendoza, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Department of Health believes that the implementation of the nationwide firecracker ban must be thoroughly studied as it might affect investors and the firecracker industry in the country. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
We need this to be signed as soon as possible so that if hindi man ngayon, by next year we can, because this probably is in consideration of the industry. Baka nakapag-produce nila ng so much, but if there will be ban, it might compromise their capital, their investment.
The Department of Health agrees with President Rodrigo Duterte's proposed nationwide firecracker ban that is likely to take effect next year. However, the department believes that its effect on investors and workers in the industry must be thoroughly studied first. Though there is not enough time, the President is obliged to push through with the plan through an executive order for the safety of the public.
But that decision should not go beyond April, May. Kasi ba too late na naman. Has to be decided, but I would like Congress to act on it first. And if they do not want it, well, I will see if I can do it with executive order.
Once the executive order is signed, the DOH will then create a much detailed implementing rules and regulations on the firecracker ban.
Hindi siguro total, but in terms of safety, yung individual use, especially of the mga pumuputok yung firecrackers, will be prohibited. But we can also encourage pyrotechnics, yung mga pailaw, that can be used at the residential level.
If not a total ban, there will at least be designated areas where firecrackers may only be used to lessen the number of firecracker victims on the streets. Meanwhile, DOLE has started to inspect firecracker factories and markets following the issuance of a work stoppage order because of explosion incidents at several manufacturing sites in Bulacan. Also, the Bureau of Fire Protection reminds vendors to cooperate with the government's campaign to prevent fire and other disasters.
Yung ating Oplan Palaala is already activated, so lahat po ng fire station nationwide must conduct fire safety inspection sa mga tindahan o areas.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Workers as well as owners of firecracker factories worry about the impact of the Labor Department's work stoppage order on their daily income. Ray Pelay will tell us why.
Workers and firecrackers factories see the Labor Department's stoppage order as a big problem since making firecrackers have long been their only source of income.
Kagaya ko, 30 years nang gumagawa. Mga nag-aaral mga anak ko. Tsaka kawawa po pagka ngayon Disyembre. Kung may bibigay naman po sa amin trabaho, titigil po kami.
This is following the explosion that occurred inside a firecracker factory in Bangka, Santa Maria, Bulacan on Wednesday that killed a mother and her 2 children and injured 6 others. Another incident was the explosion that occurred at a firecracker store in Bulacan last October 13 that left 2 people dead and more than 20 others injured. Firecracker factory owners and workers believe that instead of implementing a work stoppage order, authorities should just apprehend illegal manufacturers who do not follow safety standard procedures.
Pag pinagbawal po ang paputok, yun po ang tinitya ko po sa inyo. Maaring manahimik ng isang panahon, pero mas maraming mga-aksidente gagawa sa loob ng bahay. Doon po dadami ang mamamatay at mga-aksidente pag yun ay naging bawal.
Earlier this morning, PNP conducted an inspection of some factories in Santa Maria, Bulacan.
Mayroon nang inilabas ang DOLE dun sa regarding sa pag-stop ng manufacture at ng pagbenta ng mga paputok. Sa ngayon, sir, hinihintay namin ang instruction galing naman sa aming Chief PNP na i-implement na yon. Although Ngayon sir, gumagawa na kami ng proactive.
Based on PNP's data, only 36 manufacturers and 132 dealers in Bulacan passed their inspection. Ray Pilayo, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
The PNP Aviation Security Group has arrested some members of the Salisi gang operating at different terminals of the Ninoy Aquino International Airport. Meanwhile, the Manila International Airport Authority is now preparing for the surge of passengers this holiday season. John Ano will tell us why.
6 members of Salisigang and 2 other theft suspects have been arrested by the PNP Aviation Security Group. The suspects have allegedly been victimizing passengers at the terminal of Ninoy Aquino International Airport. According to the authorities, they were involved in various illegal acts such as stealing cell phones, laptops, wallets, and other important belongings of the passengers, usually at the waiting area. Despite the cases of theft, MINDANAO assures that it has intensified its security to apprehend lawless elements preying on passengers. Meanwhile, MINDANAO is also preparing for the possible influx of vacationers traveling this holiday season. As estimated by the agency, the number of passengers in NAIA has an upsurge of at least almost 20% during December and January. As of now, the agency is coordinating with the Department of Transportation on improving the traffic flow at NAIA. Among the measures being considered by MINDANAO is opening the Villamor Air Base to be utilized as alternative route by the motorists going to the airport.
Meron din ho kaming pag-uusap ngayon sa Villamor na kung po pwede ho, padaanin ho tayo sa may Villamor area. Isa pong artery ho yan na tinitingnan namin. Tapos kami po ay nakipag-ugnayan din sa ating mga local barangay, yung mga barangay ho sa harapan ng Terminal 3 na kung pwede ho, mapadaan ho kami ron at para maigsan ho doon sa main Andrews Avenue yung traffic.
Aside from the plan to open other routes, the 2-minute waiting time of the vehicles will be strictly imposed at the arrival and departure areas. MINDANAO is hoping that just before the year ends, the remaining parts of the NAIA Expressway will be open for the motorists, which will serve as additional road for those going to Terminal 3. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
The travel time of motorists from Monumento to Rojas Boulevard has been reduced by 20 minutes, according to the PNP Highway Patrol Group. Leah Ilagan will tell us why.
Traffic flow in EDSA has become faster this past 2 weeks.
Makikita po natin sa graph na yan that there is only a slight improvement along EDSA with regard to travel speed by car, by bus.
According to PNP HPG Deputy Public Information Head, Police Senior Inspector Jem Delantes, based on the data obtained by the MMDA, it appears that the EDSA traffic has improved since the no-window hour was implemented on EDSA from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. He added that when there was no window hour, the average travel time in EDSA was 1 hour and 6 minutes from Monumento to Rojas Boulevard and vice versa. The improvement of traffic in EDSA was primarily due to the lesser volume of vehicles traveling during the no-window hour.
Compared to the last week of October, mayroon po tayong improvement ng nangyayari sa EDSA. For Monday, nagiging 46 minutes na lang ang average time nila traveling from north to south, south to north using our EDSA road. There is really an improvement.
The official added that since EDSA has been decongested, the Highway Patrol Group now manages the traffic along C5, Commonwealth and NAIA Expressway, Terminal 1, 2, and Terminal 3. HPG calls for the public to cooperate with their personnel towards improving the traffic, especially this holiday season when traffic congestion is projected along major roads. Leah Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
Motorists are now experiencing heavy traffic along EDSA northbound. Nel Maribuhok is at EDSA Philam to tell us why live. Good evening, Nel.
Good evening, Gerry. It's Friday, so our motorists should expect moderate traffic situation in major areas of Metro Manila, especially here in EDSA. Let's take a look at the traffic situation here in EDSA. Here on EDSA southbound, starting from Balintawak, our motorists will experience moderate traffic all the way to Muñoz area. Also, vehicles are slow moving in North Avenue and approaching Quezon Avenue intersection. Expect delays in NAIA Road and Q Mart areas wherein motorists are now experiencing moderate to heavy traffic all the way to P. Tuazon and Santolan areas. Meanwhile, light traffic situation in Ortigas Avenue and Shaw Boulevard. Approaching Pioneer Boni, vehicles are slow moving and moderate to heavy traffic from Buendia up to Tramo area. Going back here in Quezon City, our motorists from Malibay to Buendia and Reliance are now experiencing heavy traffic. Also expect delays in Cubao and Ortigas areas. Fast moving in Q Mart and Kamuning, but moderate to heavy traffic from Quezon Avenue all the way to Balintawak. Let's check out our live points. In C5E Rodriguez Pasig, from Libis to Makati area, vehicles are fast moving in that area. But going to Libis, motorists will experience moderate traffic situation. Also from Libis flyover going to Saverville, moderate to heavy traffic in those areas. Moderate to heavy traffic in Market all the way to Eastwood. In Recto Avenue, Manila, going to Divisoria, light to moderate traffic situation in that area. And to those who are going to Legarda, also motorists will experience light to moderate traffic situation. In Jose Abad Santos Avenue, Manila, going to Juan Luna Street, our motorists will experience light to moderate traffic situation. Meanwhile, vehicles are slow moving going to Monumento area. And that is our traffic update here in EDSA. Back to you, Gerry.
Thank you for that report, Nel Maribohok, live from EDSA PhilAm.
Next in Y News. President Rodrigo Duterte gives financial assistance to wounded soldiers in Basilan and Jolo, Sulu.
A bill that seeks to promote raising of native animals in the country was filed in the Senate today.
Cagayan de Oro hosts a third International River Summit this year, aiming to discuss efforts on river preservation.
Y News will be right back.
President Rodrigo Duterte has visited 12 wounded military men confined in Campo General Teodolfo Bautista Hospital in Sulu and 7 others confined in Camp Navarro General Hospital in Zamboanga City. The president has given them financial assistance. The soldiers got wounded during separate encounters with the Abu Sayyaf group in Basilan and Sulu on November 14 and 18. Meanwhile, during his visit, the president has clarified his position on the burial of former President Marcos at the libingan ng mga bayani. He said that during his campaign, he promised to bury the former president at the said cemetery. Armed Forces of the Philippines Chief of Staff General Ricardo Visaya is relieved that the current situation in Mindanao has been improving, particularly in Basilan and Jolo, Sulu. Brian De Paz will tell us why.
The Armed Forces of the Philippines says that kidnapping activities by the Abu Sayyaf group have dropped. Furthermore, AFP Chief of Staff General Ricardo Visaya is happy to announce that for the first time in history, many Abu Sayyaf members are surrendering to the authorities. This contributed to the improving situation in Jolo and Basilan.
The situation in Mindanao, particularly in Basilan and Jolo, is getting better, no? And nakita nyo naman na this is only the first time in the history of our armed forces na nagsusurrender ang Abu Sayyaf, di ba? So makita nyo, it's not only surrender na pa isa-isa o pa dalawa, but en masse, 20.
Last week, the armed group failed to kidnap 2 members of the Malaysian fishing vessel in Jolo and Basilan. According to General Visaya, this is due to intensified naval assets of the military.
It was reduced. Alam niyo kasi when we deployed our biggest ship, the BRP Tarlac in the waters between Malaysia and the Philippines, natigil yun.
General Visaya revealed the ASG uses colorum speedboats. However, they failed due to the memorandum of agreement between the AFP and the DOTR.
There was a MOA. The AFP entered into MOA with the Department of Transportation, authorizing us to confiscate these unregistered boats. And we are very happy that we were able to achieve our objectives na neutralizing the speed of the enemy in the high seas.
General Visaya said he will go to Basilan and Jolo in the first week of December to give directives to military troops before his retirement on December 8. The government is determined to neutralize the Abu Sayyaf group and promises to continue its operation against other terrorist groups like the Maote group. Brian De Paz, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Aguinaldo.
The Bureau of Customs has confiscated 775 million pesos worth of counterfeit products in November 2016. Rosalie Cos will tell us why.
775 million pesos worth of counterfeit products was confiscated by the Bureau of Customs in various warehouses raided by the BOC in Pasay City, Bulacan, and Pangasinan in November alone. Among those confiscated were high-end counterfeit shoes, clothing, cigarettes, and BIR tax stamps. This is aside from the confiscated illegal drugs in different operations amounting to 1.173 billion pesos. According to the BOC spokesman, the agency is determined in pursuing after anti-smugglers.
BOC will remain tough against smuggling. As we improve our maritime capability, we will pursue them in the farthest border of the country.
Meanwhile, the official denied that BOC Commissioner Nick Faeldon has been receiving death threats after the ambush of Deputy Commissioner Arturo La Chica recently. The BOC chief has ordered the agency's departments to cooperate with PNP and NBI's investigation of the case.
Commissioner Faeldon instructed all departments to assist and exercise transparency in assisting the National Bureau of Investigation, the Philippine National Police, investigating teams on the case surrounding the death of Deputy Commissioner Arturo La Chica.
Meanwhile, BOC also reported that the 400 overstaying balikbayan boxes in Manila International Container Port will be released before December 25.
The good news is Perica International just gave us its yes that they will give these 400 balikbayan boxes for free.
Rosalie Cos, UNTV News and Rescue, Malacanang.
Team of prosecutors and fiscals inspect the alleged floating Shabu laboratory seized in Subic last July. Aiko Miguel will tell us why.
The fiscal, prosecution, and judge of Branch 75 of the Olongapo Regional Trial Court held an ocular inspection today of the alleged floating Shabu laboratory in Subic to check on the facilities inside the vessel. The inspection coincides with a bail hearing on the 4 Chinese nationals arrested last July inside the suspected Shabu laboratory. In the hearing, the prosecution presented 2 witnesses to testify against the accused. The fishing vessel is located at Barangay Calapandayan in the town of Subic. The judge also allowed the 2 parties to take pictures of the area where a hydrogenator is installed, which allegedly used for the production of Shabu. According to the lawyer of the suspects, the hydrogenator being pointed to is already too messy. He also notes that it is no longer capable of making Shabu since it lacks equipment like condenser, hydrogen gas tank, and hydrogen generator.
Basically, we're trying to tell the judge that the place where they kept the hydrogenator is not conducive. If they are really making the Shabu, I believe na yung stainless cylinder hindi magagamit or hindi gagana para makapag-process or makapag-undergo ng hydrogenation.
He adds that it is thus far from possible that the Chinese nationals were able to produce shabu using the said hydrogenator. Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Members of the Bureau of Fire Protection underwent a drug equipment and paraphernalia familiarization seminar today. It aims to help them learn more about their profession and the ways on how to help in the anti-drug campaign of the Duterte administration. The move is also to aid other agencies such as PIDEA. There are instances wherein the firemen themselves stumble upon drug laboratories during a regular fire inspection. One example was when BFP personnel discovered a mega shabu laboratory in Arayat, Pampanga last September 22.
So during fire safety inspection, once the fire safety inspector identified such equipment, then he can provide information to our partners, the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency.
Cagayan de Oro City hosts the 3rd International River Summit, attended by over 800 delegates from around the globe. The 3-day meeting from November 24 to 26 aims to maintain the cleanliness and order of 18 major river basins in the country. Pressing issues will be discussed, such as climate change, water quality, biodiversity conservation and management, and disaster risk reduction and management. The host city, Cagayan de Oro, focuses primarily on its flood risk mitigation program to avoid catastrophic incidents such as that which occurred during Typhoon Sendong, which killed hundreds of thousands of people.
Atong flood risk mitigation program, which is a program of DPWH and JICA. It's proceeding very well. Nanay mga embankment in some areas, ang uban hopefully doon na po.
In other news, a bill has been filed in the Senate that seeks to promote raising of native animals in the country. Joyce Balancho will tell us why.
Senator Cynthia Villar filed this week Senate Bill 144, or the Philippine Native Animal Development Act, that aims to promote a government program for raising native animals. This bill seeks to promote scientific propagation, processing and utilization of native animals to address the growing demand of meat products in the Philippines. According to Department of Agriculture Secretary Emmanuel Piñol, Filipinos' consumption of meat rose to 35 kilos per person from 15 kilos. The 2.5 million cattle would not be enough anymore to feed 105 million Filipinos. Senate Committee on Agriculture and Food Vice Chairperson Senator Villar says cattle growers struggle in raising imported cows as these cannot adapt to changing climate in the Philippines. She notes that it will be cheaper to utilize native animals that are adjusted and adaptable to weather in the country. It will also lessen the costs of raising them because native animals will only feed on grass planted by local farmers. The bill also seeks to put up a native animal region center in every region in the country to bring the development of industry closer to stakeholders. Through this, local food products aside from the chicken and asal and lechon will also be promoted. Meanwhile, Secretary Piñol has already expressed support to this bill and has included this in their legislative agenda. Joyce Balancho, UNTV News and Rescue, Senate of the Philippines.
Coming up, several provincial offices of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council remain under red alert over Typhoon Marce.
Peruvian authorities detonate 21 tons of illegal firecrackers seized from a massive haul this year.
And a young girl in eastern Aleppo gets a special gift from famous Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling.
More from Y News after this break.
Tropical storm Marce has slowed down while traversing Calamian group of islands. As of 7 p.m. today, the Philippine Atmospheric, Geophysical and Astronomical Services Administration, or PAG-ASA, has located the cyclone in the vicinity of Coron, Palawan, packing maximum sustained winds of 65 kilometers per hour near the center and gustiness of up to 100 kilometers per hour. It is forecast to move northwest at 17 kilometers per hour. Tropical cyclone warning signal number 2 is raised over the Calamian group of islands. Those areas may still experience stormy weather. Signal number 1 is to raise over Occidental Mindoro and Northern Palawan, including Puyo Island. Expect rains and gusty winds in those areas. Pag-asa is expecting Marce to exit landmass tonight and the Philippine Area of Responsibility by Sunday. Several provincial offices of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council remain under red alert over Typhoon Marce. Yoshiko Sata will tell us why.
Several provincial offices of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council are still under red alert over Typhoon Marce, while its operations center is on blue alert. The NDRRMC has reported that Typhoon Marce has been greatly felt over Western Mindanao, Bicol Region, Calabarzon, Marinduque, and Aurora Province. Because of this, the agency has deployed over 500 national-level quick response team members to the areas affected by the said typhoon. In addition, over 1,500 NDRRMC staff have been prepared in 18 regions who comprise the social welfare and development teams and the municipal and provincial action teams. The agency has not, however, reported any casualties and broken communication lines. Its operations center still coordinates with the areas affected and continuously releases updates through their website and Twitter account. Meanwhile, the Department of Social Welfare and Development says there are standby funds and stockpile of food and non-food items worth 1.2 billion pesos. Yoshiko Sata, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Around 82 barangays in the province of Capiz are affected by floods caused by the rising level of water brought by Typhoon Marce. The water level in Mambusao, Capiz has reached 8.27 meters, which has caused floods in several barangays. Likewise, the water level in the town of Cuartero has reached 8.22 meters, 8.17 meters in Maayon, and 7.82 meters in Panitan, Capiz. Because of this, over 200 families have already been evacuated to several evacuation centers, and the Department of Social Welfare and Development has distributed 1,200 food packs in their relief operations.
A 26-year-old fugitive jumps off a river in Australia as he escapes chasing police. Nina Bascon will tell us why.
Video footage shows a man attempting and ultimately failing to evade police by stopping his van during a car chase and jumping into a river in a southern suburb of Australia's western city of Perth. The video, released on Facebook by Western Australia or WA's police earlier this week, shows a white van speeding down a road, changing lanes, skipping onto the pavement, and running across red traffic lights. Several police units and the Regional Investigations Unit or RIU were in pursuit. The vehicle is then seen coming to a halt after speeding down Lidge Street in Cannington before the driver jumps out and leaps into Canning River, followed shortly by a police officer. Ross Wetherall, the senior media liaison officer with Western Australia Police, said the police officer was fully clothed and still with his firearm, taser, and police radio when he leapt in. Police have identified the subject as a 26-year-old man who had been issued a return to prison warrant on another matter. He is scheduled to appear in court at a later date. The chase started in the suburb of Calamunda at 10 a.m., ending almost an hour later. Nina Bascon, UNTV News and Rescue, Melbourne, Australia.
The total number of jobless people in France eases, giving support to French President François Hollande's pledge to turn the labor market around. June Garin will tell us why.
France's jobless total eased back slightly in October to a two-year low based on Labor Ministry data showed on Thursday. The Labor Minister said the number of people registered as unemployed in mainland France stood at 3,478,800, down to 0.3% over a month and 2.8% over 1 year. That brought the total to its lowest level since October 2014. Parisians are divided in their reaction to the unemployment results. Passerby Jacques Witas, who votes on the right, says the Labour results would not change his stance over French President François Hollande's bid for the presidential elections.
Eh bien, je pense que c'est pas l'axe déterminant pour ou contre voter pour François Hollande. Je pense qu'il n'a pas eu la stature, la carrure du président, il n'a pas communiqué comme un président, il se comporte pas comme un président. Donc c'est pour ça que je voterai pas pour Hollande de toute façon. C'est pas parce qu'il a pas fait les miracles qu'on attendait vis-à-vis de la courbe du chômage.
Center ground voter Marie-André Anques said she expected Hollande to run for a second term, adding he was likely to want to benefit from the jobless announcement. Left-wing voter Benjamin Savatovsky says he was lost over whether he would vote for Hollande.
Ouais, je pense peut-être que la courbe va s'inverser, mais les chiffres sont assez manipulables. Mais par contre, Hollande, je voulais plus voter pour lui, mais c'est vrai qu'en regardant son bilan, je ne sais plus, je suis un peu perdu sur ça. Parce que je pourrais peut-être revoter Hollande par rapport à Fillon, alors qu'il y a 15 jours, je me disais plus jamais Hollande. Mais face à Fillon, je revoterai Hollande s'il se présente, malgré tout.
Hollande, whose popularity rating fell as low as 4% in one recent opinion poll, is expected to say near the end of the first week of December if he intends to seek another 5-year term. Despite a choppy but steady improvement in the jobless numbers in recent months, the jobless total stands 630,100, higher now than when Hollande took office in May 2012. June Garin, UNTV News and Rescue, Paris, France.
Authorities in Peru have detonated nearly 21 tons of illegal fireworks seized in the Andean country. The massive haul was unloaded at the site in Greater Lima for its destruction, with the country's arms control body undertaking the operation. Peru has some of Latin America's strictest regulations, triggered by a fire incident in a fireworks warehouse in 2002, which killed approximately 300 people.
Esta es la más importante quema de explosivos que ha hecho en su historia la SUCAM. Casi, vuelvo a repetir, casi 21 toneladas, lo que hace que sea una cantidad importantísima de producto que retiramos del mercado.
Paraguay will become the 29th country to host the Dakar Rally. Meanwhile, fans of Bayern Munich were stunned on Thursday after their team's Championship League match. Won Hokson tells us why.
Bayern Munich fans were unfazed on Thursday, one day after their club suffered a surprise 3-2 defeat in their Champions League group against Russian host Rostov. Bayern had already qualified for the last 16, but their chances of topping Group D are now slim, with leaders Atletico Madrid needing a point from their final 2 games to tie up first place. Bayern, 5 times European champions and Bundesliga winners for the last 4 seasons, beat Rostov 5-0 in September in what was the Russia side's first ever match in the Champions League. Meanwhile, Dakar Rally event organizers announced Paraguay as the 29th country to host the event. Drivers and other team members gathered for the event in Paris, previewing the upcoming rally.
We love Dakar, and always we are waiting, for when finish Dakar. We're waiting 1 year more, to prepare and to get the best thing, for Dakar.
The rally will start in the Paraguayan capital Asuncion on January 2nd early next year, where drivers will cross into northern Argentina on the same day. The drivers cross into Argentina before heading into Bolivia and driving up to its capital La Paz at stage 6 on January 7. The route then takes the drivers back into Argentina, where the rally will finish in the Argentine capital Buenos Aires on January 14. Mon Hokson, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Ukrainian students dismantled more than 100 computer keyboards while a young girl in eastern Aleppo gets a special gift from Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
In Syria. On Tuesday, November 22nd, a young girl in eastern Aleppo uploaded a video of her walking around the destruction in her home city. 7-year-old Bana Alabed put the video onto her Twitter page along with other stills of her life in the devastated Syrian city. Separately, the child has also managed to catch the attention of Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling when she tweeted the famous writer telling her that she enjoyed one of the Harry Potter films and she asked if she could get a book. On Wednesday, November 23rd, Bana Alabed uploaded a thank you picture, saying she had received the ebooks from J.K. Rowling. And in Ukraine, Ukrainian IT students paid tribute to the U.S. businessman and Apple co-founder Steve Jobs in an unusual way by creating his portrait from keyboard keys. 3 students from a private IT academy in the eastern city of Mariupol spent 3 months searching for the best possible keys which could resemble Jobs' face. Student Ivan Kuchagura says it was a very time-consuming process.
2 строчки мы клеили, вот я клеил впервые, когда только начал, около 3 часов. То есть что-то обжегся клеем, это был горячий клей, или еще что-нибудь, уже сидишь там, отдыхаешь, спина очень ломит, в общем, это очень сложно.
The students also included the words Apple, Steve Jobs, and iPhone into the artwork. The picture is currently hanging on a wall at the academy, but will soon be moving to a new home in California. Apple saw the image on the Facebook, and the academy have decided to donate it to the corporation. Nina Armilio, UNTV News and Rescue, Philippines.
Before we end, we would like to greet our Kuya Daniel a happy 33rd year of service. Anything you want to say?
Kuya, happy 33rd year of service, and we pray that you touch and inspire more lives.
Yes, happy 33rd year in service as well, Kuya Daniel, and we hope you to have more birthdays to come.
Happy weekend, everyone. Those are the reasons behind the news. November 25, 2016. Mahalo Castro III.
Reasons we delivered to you as they unfold. I'm Gerry Alcantara.
And I'm Darlene Basingan, because we need to know.
We will always ask why. Thank you for watching Y News.